The 1969 Roosevelt dime is an integral part of American numismatic history. While it may seem like an ordinary coin at first glance, the Roosevelt dime is significant for several reasons. Its historical background, the changes in its metal composition, and its long-standing legacy in U.S. currency. Introduced to honor the legacy of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the dime has been in continuous production since its debut in 1946. The 1969 dime, although not a particularly rare coin, carries the influence of its era and an enduring design. The Roosevelt dime was designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint in 1946. It was created to honor Roosevelt, who had passed away in 1945, not long after leading the country through the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt was also closely associated with the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio, a disease he personally battled throughout his life. The obverse of the coin features a profile portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt. His image is clean and simple, embodying the pragmatic and forward-thinking approach that characterized his presidency. Above his head is the word, liberty, while the motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed to the left of his chin. The date 1969 appears below his neck. The reverse features a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty. It is flanked by an olive branch, representing peace, on the left, and an oak branch, representing strength, on the right. The inscriptions, United States of America, and one dime, circle the edge of the coin, while the motto, A pluribus unum, is located just beneath the torch. This simple yet powerful design has remained largely unchanged for decades, contributing to its recognition and widespread use in everyday transactions. The year 1969 marked a period of great social and political change in the United States. The country was deeply involved in the Vietnam War, while at home, movements for civil rights, women's rights, and counterculture were reshaping American society. The coin itself, though not directly linked to these specific events, represents a time when the U.S. was grappling with its identity and future. Economically, the late 1960s were marked by inflation and the gradual decline of the gold standard, leading to a broader reassessment of the U.S. monetary system. However, one of the most significant changes affecting coins like the Roosevelt dime came a few years earlier. The most notable feature of the 1969 Roosevelt dime is that, like all dimes minted after 1964, it is made from a clad composition rather than the 90% silver alloy used in earlier versions of the coin. The Coinage Act of 1965 was responsible for this shift. Due to rising silver prices, the U.S. government decided to conserve silver by switching to a copper-nickel clad composition. The clad dimes are composed of a core of pure copper, sandwiched between two outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. This change drastically reduced the intrinsic metal value of the coin, while maintaining its face value and functional use as currency. While the 1969 Roosevelt dime may not be rare, its legacy as part of the broader Roosevelt series contributes to its value among numismatists. Collectors often seek to complete sets of Roosevelt dimes, spanning from 1946 to the present, with the 1969 issue being an essential part of any comprehensive collection. Additionally, the historical context of 1969 adds a layer of interest to this coin. It was minted during a period of great cultural and political upheaval in the United States, making it a fascinating artifact from that era. For collectors, owning a coin from such a pivotal year in American history is a reminder of the events and changes that shaped the nation. The 1969 Roosevelt dime may not immediately stand out as a rare or highly valuable coin, but it carries with it a rich legacy of American history. Its design, honoring one of the most influential U.S. presidents, has remained unchanged for decades, making it a symbol of continuity and resilience. The shift from silver to clad composition also marked a significant change in U.S. coinage, reflecting the evolving economic landscape of the 1960s. For numismatists and casual collectors alike, the 1969 dime serves as both a piece of currency and a lasting tribute to Franklin D. Roosevelt's contributions to the nation. According to the NGC Price Guide, as of September 2024, a Roosevelt dime from 1968 in circulated condition is worth around 50 cents. However, on the open market, 1,968 D dimes in pristine, uncirculated condition sell for as much as $165. The 1971 one-dime coin, part of the United States currency, holds an important place in the history of American numismatics. The coin is a modern iteration of the U.S. 10-cent piece, also known as the dime, which has evolved through various designs and compositions since its introduction in 1796. The 1970 dime continues the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt's portrait, which was first featured on the dime in 1946 to honor the late president's role in the founding of the March of Dimes, a charity aimed at combating polio. Here's an exploration of the 1970 dime, its history, design, and some interesting facts that make it a point of interest for collectors and history enthusiasts alike. The 1970 dime belongs to the Roosevelt dime series, which began in 1946 and continues to this day. The choice to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt on the dime was significant because of his personal battle with polio and his leadership in helping to eradicate the disease through the March of Dimes campaign. The coin was designed by John R. Sinnock, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. Sinnock's initials, J.S., appear at the base of Roosevelt's neck on the obverse, front, of the coin. The obverse of the 1970 dime features a profile portrait of Roosevelt facing left, along with the inscriptions, "Liberty," to the left of his face, the motto, "In God We Trust," below his chin, and the date, 1970, to the right. The reverse, back, of the coin features an olive branch, a torch, and an oak branch symbolizing peace, liberty, and strength, respectively. The reverse also contains the phrase, "United States of America," and the denomination, 1 dime, along with the Latin phrase, "E pluribus unum," meaning, out of many, one. The composition of the 1970 dime was similar to other modern dimes produced after 1965. Prior to 1965, U.S. dimes were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But the rising cost of silver led to the Coinage Act of 1965, which introduced the copper-nickel-clad composition. The 1970 dime is composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This change in composition helped reduce the cost of minting dimes and other coins, while still maintaining their durability and usability in circulation. The 1970 dime was minted at 3 different U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Dimes from Philadelphia carry no mint mark. Dimes from Denver are marked with a D, and those from San Francisco are marked with an S. The San Francisco dimes from 1970 were proof coins, specially made for collectors with a higher level of detail and finish. While the 1970 dime may seem like an ordinary coin, certain variations make it highly sought after by collectors. For example, the 1970 No S proof dime, minted in San Francisco, is a notable rarity. Normally, proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint bear an S mint mark, but in some cases, dimes were struck without this mint mark. These error coins are rare and can fetch significant prices at auctions. The decision to switch from silver to a copper-nickel composition in 1965 not only impacted the 1970 dime, but also marked a shift in U.S. coinage history. The removal of silver from circulation coins was a response to the increasing demand for silver in other industries and the depletion of the U.S. Treasury's silver reserves. Although this reduced the intrinsic metal value of dimes, it preserved their use in daily transactions and ensured a steady supply of coins. The 1970 proof dimes from the San Francisco Mint were specially struck for coin collectors, and they feature a sharper design and a mirror-like finish compared to standard circulation coins. Proof coins are made using polished dies and planchets, coin blanks, giving them a distinctive appearance. The error varieties, particularly the No S proof dimes, have become some of the most desirable coins from this era. The Roosevelt dime is more than just a piece of currency. It is a tribute to Franklin D. Roosevelt's legacy. Roosevelt's New Deal policies helped guide the U.S. through the Great Depression, and his leadership during World War II cemented his place in history. The March of Dimes Foundation, which he helped establish, continues to work towards improving maternal and child health, and the dime serves as a lasting reminder of his contributions. Even though the 1970 dime was no longer made of silver, many people began hoarding pre-1965 silver dimes as the price of silver increased. These older silver dimes, with a 90% silver content, became valuable for their metal content, and this trend continued well into the 1970s. As a result, silver dimes from before 1965 were often removed from circulation, making them harder to find in pocket change. The 1971 dime coin represents an important era in U.S. coinage, characterized by changes in composition, minting techniques, and historical significance. While it may seem like a standard piece of currency, the dime's connection to Franklin D. Roosevelt, its copper-nickel composition, and its rare variations, such as the 1970 No-S proof, make it an intriguing coin for collectors. Today, it stands as both a symbol of America's economic history and a reminder of Roosevelt's enduring legacy. Whether you're a casual coin enthusiast or a serious collector, the 1970 dime offers a glimpse into the fascinating world of numismatics. The Red Book suggests a retail price of $2 for one of these coins, but it is not unusual to see them sell for less than 75 cents each. MS 65 certified 1970 Roosevelt dimes will routinely trade for under $10 each. The 1971 Roosevelt dime, like all dimes minted in the United States since 1946, features a portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on its obverse and an olive branch, torch, and oak branch on the reverse. The dime has long been a staple of American currency, and while it may not often be the subject of significant attention, the 1971 dime holds interesting aspects, both in terms of its historical context and physical characteristics. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, is honored on the dime largely due to his association with the March of Dimes, a campaign initially aimed at combating polio, which Roosevelt himself suffered from. By 1971, the Roosevelt dime had been in circulation for 25 years, having replaced the Mercury dime, featuring the Roman god Mercury, in 1946. Roosevelt's administration saw pivotal changes in American politics and social policy, and his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II left an enduring legacy. In 1971, the United States was in a period of significant economic and social change. The U.S. was grappling with the aftereffects of the Vietnam War, economic inflation, and shifts in the global monetary system. Though the dime may seem like an insignificant part of this larger context, the economic factors of the era affected coin production, materials, and minting strategies. By 1971, the composition of the dime had been altered due to the rising costs of precious metals. Before 1965, dimes were made of 90% silver, making them valuable beyond their face value as the price of silver fluctuated. However, in 1965, due to silver shortages and economic concerns, the U.S. Mint switched to a clad composition, using a copper core sandwiched between two layers of copper-nickel, an alloy of copper and nickel. The 1971 dime, like other clad dimes, consists of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. This shift in composition meant that dimes were no longer worth more than their face value based on metal content, but were designed to be durable and resistant to wear, which was a significant improvement over previous silver coins. In 1971, dimes were minted at several U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. Coins from the San Francisco Mint were typically reserved for proof sets, high-quality coins meant for collectors. These proof coins are especially prized because of their sharp details and mirror-like surfaces. The absence of a mint mark on a 1971 dime means it was minted in Philadelphia. The majority of dimes in circulation today from 1971 come from Philadelphia and Denver, with the Denver minted dimes being more common. Collectors often seek out well-preserved examples of dimes from this era, particularly those with strong, clear strikes. The 1971 dime is generally not rare, and in typical circulated condition, it is worth only its face value of 10 cents. However, uncirculated versions of the dime, especially those in pristine condition, can be worth more to collectors. Proof sets from the San Francisco Mint are particularly desirable. One interesting aspect of coin collecting is the hunt for minting errors, and the 1971 dime has its share of known errors. Some coins were struck off-center, double die errors, where the design is stamped twice, resulting in a blurry or doubled appearance. Or even broad struck, where the coin was not fully struck within the die collar, resulting in a wider and thinner appearance. These errors can significantly increase the value of the dime, sometimes to several $100s, depending on the rarity and condition of the error. The Roosevelt dime also holds a symbolic place in American culture. Roosevelt's portrayal on the coin reflects his status as one of the most influential presidents in U.S. history. His image on the dime is a reminder of the fight against polio and the collective efforts of the March of Dimes organization, which ultimately led to the development of the polio vaccine. This historical connection gives the dime a legacy beyond mere currency. Despite its small denomination, the dime remains a crucial part of everyday transactions. The design of the 1971 dime has largely remained unchanged since its introduction in 1946, a testament to the enduring legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt and the iconic imagery of the torch and branches, symbolizing freedom, peace, and strength. Over the years, billions of Roosevelt dimes have been produced, making it one of the most recognizable coins in the U.S. It continues to circulate widely, and though many people may not stop to think about the coin in their pocket, each dime carries with it a small piece of American history. The 1971 Roosevelt dime is not just a small piece of metal used for transactions. It represents a significant chapter in U.S. history. From its connection to Franklin D. Roosevelt and the March of Dimes, to its transition from silver to clad composition, the dime tells a story of changing times in America. For collectors, dimes from this era, especially those with errors or in proof sets, hold special interest, and the hunt for rare versions of this otherwise common coin continues. Whether viewed as a collector's item or just a simple part of everyday commerce, the 1971 dime is a fascinating example of how even the smallest coin can have rich historical and cultural importance. According to our reliable source, a Roosevelt dime from 1971 in circulated condition is worth around 40 cents. However, on the open market, 1971 D dimes in pristine, uncirculated condition sell for as much as $70. The 1972 Roosevelt dime is a relatively common coin, but holds significance for collectors and historians alike, due to its enduring design, historical context, and occasional minting errors that make certain variations particularly valuable. The dime, which has featured President Franklin D. Roosevelt since 1946, is part of everyday U.S. currency. While the 1972 edition may not stand out as particularly rare, it represents a period in U.S. numismatic history when coinage was transitioning in response to changing economic factors. By the time the 1972 dime was minted, the U.S. had fully transitioned away from silver coinage. In 1965, the Coinage Act had removed silver from dimes, as well as quarters and half dollars, to conserve precious metals in the face of rising demand and inflation. Dimes minted from 1965 onwards, including the 1972 dime, were composed of a copper-nickel clad sandwich, a core of pure copper surrounded by an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This shift from silver to base metals marked a significant change in U.S. coinage, reflecting broader economic challenges of the time, including rising costs and inflation. The 1972 dime is a product of this post-silver era, during which the U.S. Mint focused on producing durable coins for everyday use in a growing economy. Though not made of precious metal, the dime remained an important part of American currency, used in everyday transactions and small-scale commerce. The 1972 dime, like all Roosevelt dimes, features the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, on the obverse. Roosevelt's portrait faces left, and he is depicted with a serious, contemplative expression. Above his image is the phrase, "In God We Trust," while the year 1972 is inscribed to the right of the portrait. The designer's initials, J.S., for John R. Sinek, are located at the base of Roosevelt's neck. The reverse of the dime features a torch, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left, representing peace, and an oak branch on the right, representing strength and independence. The words United States of America circle the top of the coin, and the denomination one dime appears at the bottom. The Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, is inscribed just below the torch, emphasizing the unity of the states. The 1972 Roosevelt dime was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint is identifiable by its specific mint mark. Approximately 432 million dimes were minted in Philadelphia in 1972. Denver Mint, D mint mark. Denver produced over 311 million dimes, slightly fewer than Philadelphia, but still a high number. The San Francisco Mint produced a much smaller number of dimes, around 3 million, but these were all proof coins, made specifically for collectors, and sold in proof sets. The 1972 Roosevelt dime is generally considered a common coin due to its large mintage numbers, especially from the Philadelphia and Denver mints. In circulated condition, these dimes typically have a value of face value, 10 cents, due to their widespread availability. However, uncirculated coins or proof coins from the San Francisco Mint can be more valuable, depending on their condition. The proof coins from San Francisco are made with special techniques to ensure sharp details and a mirror-like finish, making them highly sought after by collectors. A 1972 proof dime in perfect condition, graded as PR70, can fetch significantly higher prices than its circulated counterparts. One interesting variety collectors seek in Roosevelt dimes is the full bands designation. This refers to the horizontal bands on the torch on the reverse side of the dime. In coins with sharp, well-struck details, all three sets of bands, top, middle, and bottom, are fully visible and distinct. Finding a 1972 dime with full bands can increase its value, particularly in higher-grade coins. Like many other coins, the 1972 dime has its share of minting errors that make some coins more valuable. For example, coins with off-center strikes, die cracks, or other minting errors are highly sought after by collectors. One notable error is the No S proof dime from other years, where the San Francisco Mint accidentally omitted the S mint mark. Although no S error is confirmed for the 1972 dime, collectors are always on the lookout for rare varieties. The Roosevelt dime was first issued in 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt's contributions, especially his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt also founded the March of Dimes, a charity dedicated to fighting polio, a disease from which he suffered. Fittingly, the dime was chosen as a way to commemorate his role in both the charity and his presidency. By 1972, the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned to copper-nickel-clad coinage, with dimes no longer containing any silver. This change was part of a broader shift in U.S. coinage that began in 1965 due to the rising cost of silver. The 1972 dime reflects this important evolution in American currency. As mentioned, the full bands designation is an important quality sought by collectors. Coins with fully visible bands on the torch are rarer because many dimes from this period were not struck with enough force to produce clear details, especially on the reverse. A 1972 dime with full bands is more valuable and indicates a well-preserved, high-quality strike. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are made with special care, intended for collectors rather than circulation. In 1972, the San Francisco Mint produced a small number of proof dimes, and these coins are distinguishable by their superior finish and detail. They often carry higher values than circulated coins. While the 1972 dime is not considered rare, it is still an important part of U.S. numismatic history. Its design, which has remained largely unchanged since 1946, is a testament to Roosevelt's lasting legacy and the value of continuity in American coinage. The 1972 Roosevelt dime may not be a particularly rare or valuable coin in most cases, but it remains a significant part of U.S. currency history. Its enduring design, featuring the likeness of Franklin D. Roosevelt, pays tribute to a pivotal figure in American history, while its mintage reflects the transition away from silver coinage. Whether as a circulating coin or a collector's item in proof or uncirculated form, the 1972 dime offers a tangible connection to both the past and the changing nature of American coinage in the 20th century. Collectors seeking variations like full bands or minting errors can find even more interest in this relatively common but historically rich coin. According to the NGC Price Guide, as of September 2024, a Roosevelt dime from 1972 in circulated condition is worth between 15 cents and 35 cents. However, on the open market 1972, D dimes in pristine, uncirculated condition sell for as much as $40. The 1973 one-dime coin, commonly known as the Roosevelt dime, is part of a long-standing tradition in United States coinage that honors significant historical figures. While this coin might appear ordinary to the untrained eye, it carries with it a rich history, distinctive characteristics, and some intriguing facts. The Roosevelt dime was first issued in 1946, 1 year after the death of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt, who led the country through the Great Depression and World War II, was a natural choice to be honored on this coin. He had a deep connection to the March of Dimes, a foundation established to combat polio, which he had suffered from, making the dime denomination symbolically significant. The 1973 one-dime coin belongs to this long-running series. By 1973, the Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for nearly 3 decades, and the design had become iconic. Its appearance in that year continues to carry the hallmarks of the original design, with subtle changes introduced by technology and minting practices over time. The obverse of the 1973 Roosevelt dime features a left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by sculptor John R. Sinek. Roosevelt's face is flanked by the word "Liberty" on the left, with the national motto, "In God We Trust," beneath his chin. The year 1973 is engraved on the lower right side of the coin. The reverse features an olive branch, a torch in the center, and an oak branch on the right. These elements symbolize peace, liberty, and strength, respectively. The phrase "e pluribus unum," out of many one, is inscribed above these elements, while the denomination "one dime" appears at the bottom. By 1973, the composition of the dime had changed from its earlier form. Prior to 1965, U.S. dimes were composed of 90% silver and 10% copper. However, due to rising silver prices and a shortage of silver, the Coinage Act of 1965 changed the material to a clad composition, which features a core of copper sandwiched between 2 layers of copper-nickel alloy. Thus, the 1973 dime consists of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. Dimes minted in 1973 may bear different mint marks depending on the location of the U.S. mint where they were produced. Coins minted in Philadelphia carry no mint mark, while those minted in Denver have a small D mint mark located near the date. Coins minted in San Francisco, which are typically proofs, bear an S mint mark. As mentioned, the 1973 dime contains no silver, despite a common misconception among some casual collectors. This is due to the transition in 1965 from silver to a copper-nickel clad composition, marking a significant moment in the history of U.S. coinage. The clad coinage made the dime more durable and affordable to produce, although it decreased its intrinsic value compared to older silver dimes. Proof dimes from 1973 were minted at the San Francisco Mint and are distinguishable by their highly polished and mirror-like appearance. These coins were produced with extra care for collectors and were not intended for general circulation. Proof coins are struck multiple times to ensure sharp details and a brilliant finish. Proof sets from 1973 are sought after by collectors, and the coins can fetch higher prices depending on their condition. While the 1973 dime isn't considered particularly rare, it is part of a series that remains highly collectible, especially in uncirculated and proof conditions. Coins with significant errors, such as off-center strikes, die breaks, or doubled dies, are particularly interesting to collectors. Though error coins from 1973 are not exceedingly common, any minting anomalies can add substantial value. In 1973, the purchasing power of a dime was significantly greater than it is today. Adjusted for inflation, 1 dime in 1973 is equivalent to about 65 cents in 2023. This puts into perspective how much more the dime could buy during that time. Although the design of the Roosevelt dime has remained relatively unchanged since its introduction in 1946, it is an enduring symbol of a pivotal era in U.S. history. Franklin D. Roosevelt's leadership during a period of great national turmoil has left a lasting impact on the country, and the dime serves as a tribute to his legacy. The 1973 one-dime coin, while not especially rare or valuable in the numismatic world, represents a critical period in U.S. history. The transition away from silver, the rise of modern minting practices, and the continuation of Roosevelt's legacy all combine to make this a coin worth appreciating. Its small size belies its significance in both historical and numismatic terms. Whether you're a coin collector or simply interested in U.S. history, the 1973 dime offers a glimpse into a past era while remaining a part of everyday American life today. According to our reliable source, a Roosevelt dime from 1973 in circulated condition is worth between 15 cents and 35 cents. However, on the open market, 1973 D dimes in pristine, uncirculated condition sell for as much as $70. The 1974 one-dime coin, commonly referred to as the Roosevelt dime, holds a fascinating place in the history of American coinage. The dime has been a symbol of economic value and national heritage since its inception, and the 1974 version reflects both a continuation of tradition and an example of modern minting practices. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946, replacing the winged Liberty Head, Mercury, dime. It was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a leader who had guided the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II. Roosevelt was especially connected to the dime because of his involvement with the March of Dimes campaign, which aimed to fight polio, a disease from which he himself suffered. The design of the 1974 dime, like other Roosevelt dimes, features a profile of President Roosevelt on the obverse. This side of the coin is adorned with his likeness facing left, with the words, "Liberty," and "In God We Trust," inscribed alongside his profile. Below the portrait, the year 1974 is engraved, along with the initials J.S., a nod to John Sinnock, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint who designed the coin. The reverse of the coin showcases an olive branch, torch, and oak branch, symbolizing peace, liberty, and strength, respectively. Surrounding these symbols is the inscription, United States of America, the denomination, one dime, and the phrase, e pluribus unum, which means, out of many, one. By 1974, U.S. coinage had undergone significant changes in composition due to the rising costs of precious metals. Earlier dimes, minted before 1965, were made from 90% silver. However, the Coinage Act of 1965 led to a shift to a copper-nickel-clad composition for dimes, quarters, and half-dollars to save on costs. As a result, the 1974 dime is composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a core made entirely of copper. This composition has remained standard for dimes up to the present day. The 1974 dime weighs 2.27 grams and has a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, with a reeded edge small notches around the circumference of the coin, which serve both an aesthetic and a functional purpose, deterring counterfeiting and helping to differentiate it from other coins by touch. In 1974, dimes were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; and San Francisco, marked with an S. Coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint bear no mint mark, while the Denver Mint's coins carry a D beneath the year of minting. Dimes from the San Francisco Mint, which primarily produced proof coins, are marked with an S. Proof coins are specially minted with polished dies to produce a mirror-like finish and are typically made for collectors rather than for general circulation. One interesting variation to note is the occasional presence of errors or misstrikes in some 1974 dimes, such as off-center strikes or double dies, where the design appears to be doubled. These error coins can be valuable to collectors, often fetching prices much higher than face value. While the 1974 dime does not contain silver like its pre-1965 counterparts, it remains an important piece of American numismatics. Dimes from this era, particularly those in uncirculated condition or proof versions from the San Francisco Mint, are sought after by collectors. Coins that are graded in perfect condition by grading agencies can command premium prices. Proof coins from 1974, especially those with deep cameo contrasts, where the raised design is frosted and the background has a mirror-like shine, are particularly desirable. Such coins are often housed in protective cases to preserve their condition and are sold in sets or individually to collectors. The Roosevelt dime has remained in circulation for decades, and its continued use speaks to the enduring legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt and the importance of his presidency. The dime's association with the March of Dimes also highlights the coin's broader cultural significance. The March of Dimes, which started as a campaign to eradicate polio, has evolved into a leading organization promoting maternal and child health. The 1974 Roosevelt dime is more than just a piece of pocket change. It is a symbol of a nation's history, resilience, and leadership. Its design honors a president who shaped the course of American history, while its physical composition reflects the economic realities of the 20th century. Collectors and historians alike find the dime a valuable and intriguing artifact, linking modern America to its past. Whether in a jar of loose change or a collector's display case, the 1974 dime continues to be a small but meaningful reminder of the nation's heritage. According to our reliable source, a Roosevelt dime from 1974 in circulated condition is worth between 15 cents and 35 cents. However, on the open market, 1974 dimes in pristine, uncirculated condition sell for as much as $135.
The 1975 United States dime stands out as an intriguing example in numismatic history, not because of its physical attributes or changes in design, but because of its absence. In fact, if you were to search for a 1975 dime today, you would find none were ever officially minted with the 1975 date. This apparent non-existence makes the year 1975 a subject of particular curiosity among collectors and coin enthusiasts. Before diving into the story of the 1975 dime, it's essential to understand what a typical U.S. dime looks like and its historical context. Since 1946, the U.S. dime has featured the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse to honor his legacy and role in founding the March of Dimes. This design was created by John R. Sinek, who was the chief engraver of the United States Mint at the time. The reverse of the dime features an olive branch, a torch, and an oak branch, symbolizing peace, liberty, and strength, respectively. The composition of the dime has also remained relatively stable, being made primarily from copper, about 91.67%, and nickel, about 8.33%, except for earlier versions before 1965, which were made from 90% silver. What makes the year 1975 peculiar is that no U.S. dimes were minted with that year marked on them. This gap is the result of preparations for the 1976 bicentennial celebration. To commemorate the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Mint decided to produce special bicentennial coins, featuring a unique reverse design for the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins. Although the dime's design remained unchanged during this time, the focus on the bicentennial led the Mint to continue producing dimes in 1975, but with the 1976 date stamped on them. As a result, no dimes exist bearing the year 1975. This situation makes the year an oddity in dime history, as it is one of the rare cases where a coin was minted across 1975 2 years, but only dated with a single year. Despite no dimes being marked as 1975, the U.S. Mint did produce dimes continuously during this time to meet circulation demand. However, all the dimes minted in 1975 bore the date 1976. The same holds true for quarters and half-dollars. Both the quarters and half-dollars from 1975 featured bicentennial designs with a double date 1776 to 1976. The lack of a separate 1975 dated dime creates a unique situation for numismatists who look for continuity across coin years. Collectors might notice that in their search for complete collections of U.S. dimes by year, 1975 is a glaring omission, with no such coin officially released for circulation. The decision to not release any 1975 dated dimes was directly tied to the U.S. Mint's bicentennial celebrations. While other denominations received special bicentennial designs, the dime was simply minted with the date 1976, rather than getting its own commemorative design. Despite the lack of a 1975 date, dimes were continuously produced during 1975, but all bore the 1976 date. This led to a higher number of dimes minted for 1976 than most other years, making it a very common coin in circulation. Even though there is no 1975 dated dime, collectors still consider the bicentennial dimes as part of the history of that year. These dimes hold historical significance, but not additional monetary value beyond face value, unless in exceptional condition. The absence of the 1975 dated dime highlights an interesting quirk in the U.S. Mint's practices. Usually, coins are dated with the year in which they are produced, but in this case, the preparation for a major national celebration altered this standard process. In 1976, dimes were minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, marked D, but no coins were marked with 1975. This was particularly surprising because the mint had otherwise been very consistent with its production timelines. While the absence of a 1975 dime might not have a major impact on everyday commerce or the broader world of coin collecting, it represents a fascinating moment in U.S. Mint history. The fact that the bicentennial overshadowed regular coin production, leading to the curious non-existence of a 1975 dime, adds an interesting layer to numismatic study. This quirky gap in the timeline serves as a reminder that even something as routine as minting coins can sometimes take unexpected turns. A 1975 dime can be worth a lot of money if it's one of the few that doesn't have the S mint mark for San Francisco. For example, a 1975 dime without the S mint mark that depicts former U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt could be worth over $500,000. For a lucky few, that dream has come true thanks to the 1975 No S proof dime, a tiny 10-cent coin that could fetch over $500,000 at auction. Yes, you heard that right. $500,000 for a dime.
The 1976 U.S. dime, though often overlooked in the broader scope of numismatics, carries with it a piece of American history. Part of the regular circulation coinage, the 1976 dime was produced as the nation celebrated its bicentennial. While not as iconic as the quarter or half-dollar coins from that year, which were specially minted with commemorative designs, the 1976 dime is still of interest for its historical context, design, and a few fascinating quirks tied to its production. Since 1946, the U.S. dime has featured the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt on its obverse. Roosevelt was selected for this honor due to his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his involvement in the March of Dimes campaign to combat polio, a disease from which he suffered. The 1976 dime maintains this design, with John Sinnock, the U.S. Mint's chief engraver, credited for the original work. The reverse of the coin displays a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength respectively. This design, also by Sinnock, has remained largely unchanged since its introduction, representing values deeply rooted in American identity. 1976 marked the 200th anniversary of the United States independence, and the U.S. Mint celebrated the event by issuing special bicentennial designs for the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins. These coins bore dates of 1776 to 1976 and featured unique reverses. However, the dime did not receive any such treatment. The dime minted in 1976 looks exactly the same as the dimes from previous years and those that followed. Its date, unlike the bicentennial quarter, simply reads 1976, making it part of regular circulation rather than a commemorative edition. This makes the dime a silent participant in a year marked by national celebration. By the 1970s, the composition of U.S. coins had already shifted away from precious metals like silver. The 1976 dime, like those minted from 1965 onwards, is composed of a copper-nickel clad, consisting of a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel. Specifically, it is 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, weighing 2.27 grams. Before 1965, U.S. dimes were made of 90% silver, but rising silver prices led to a transition to the copper-nickel composition. In terms of production, the U.S. Mint struck 1976 dimes at both the Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, marked with a D facilities. These coins were intended for general circulation, with many millions produced, ensuring their availability in pockets, cash registers, and coin collections across the country. While the 1976 dime is not particularly rare, a few quirks of production have made certain examples more valuable to collectors. One such anomaly is the presence of error coins. These are dimes that were improperly struck during the minting process, resulting in various defects such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, or missing details. Such errors can be highly sought after by numismatists, often commanding prices much higher than the coin's face value. For the 1976 dime, common errors include off-center strikes, broad strikes, where the rim is missing, or dimes struck on the wrong planchet, metal blank. Depending on the nature and severity of the error, these dimes can be worth anywhere from a few dollars to several $100s, making them a curious target for collectors. While the 1976 dime may seem like a mundane part of everyday coinage, it is a small piece of a larger historical puzzle. It carries the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt, a pivotal figure in American history, and serves as a reminder of the nation's bicentennial, even if it wasn't adorned with the celebratory designs that graced other coins of that year. For collectors, its potential errors and anomalies provide a layer of intrigue, making it a coin that is still closely examined today. In this way, the 1976 dime, like all circulating coins, is a humble yet enduring artifact of America's rich numismatic heritage. According to the NGC Price Guide, a Roosevelt dime from 1976 in circulated condition is worth between 15 cents and 35 cents. However, on the open market, 1976 D-dimes in pristine, uncirculated condition sell for as much as $150. The 1977 one-dime coin, minted in the United States, is more than just a small piece of currency. It carries a piece of history, significant design, and an intriguing legacy that many collectors and enthusiasts find fascinating. This coin, bearing the likeness of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, reflects elements of American values, notable moments in coin design, and economic decisions of the 20th century. Let's explore the story and some interesting facts about this unique coin. The 1977 dime belongs to the Roosevelt dime series, which was introduced in 1946 as a tribute to Franklin D. Roosevelt following his death. As the 32nd President of the United States, Roosevelt led the country through the Great Depression and most of World War II. His role in founding the March of Dimes, a movement to combat polio, made the choice to feature him on the dime especially symbolic. The obverse of the coin displays a portrait of Roosevelt designed by sculptor John R. Sinek. The initials J.S. appear under Roosevelt's neck to mark Sinek's work, a detail that has sparked some debate and intrigue, as it was occasionally misinterpreted in conspiracy theories as the initials for Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. The reverse of the coin shows a torch, an olive branch, and an oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength respectively. This imagery reflects the post-World War II values of the U.S. and Roosevelt's commitment to a peaceful and prosperous future. The words United States of America and E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many one, also appear on the reverse, reinforcing unity and national identity. In 1977, coins minted in Philadelphia did not carry a mint mark. This tradition continued until 1980, meaning that Philadelphia dimes of the time are identifiable only by the absence of any mint mark. Coins produced in Denver bore a D mint mark, and those produced in San Francisco for proof sets bore an S. This difference is especially interesting for collectors looking for coins from specific mints. By 1977, the U.S. Mint had long since transitioned from silver dimes to a copper-nickel-clad composition, which began in 1965 as a response to rising silver prices. The 1977 Roosevelt dime is made of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This change ensured that dimes, as well as other coins, could be produced affordably while maintaining durability in circulation, as the nickel-copper composition resists wear and tarnish more effectively than silver. While the face value of the dime has remained consistent, its purchasing power has changed dramatically. In 1977, a dime could buy small items, such as a newspaper or a pack of gum. Today, however, 10 cents has much less purchasing power due to inflation. For collectors, the coin's worth is typically slightly above face value, unless it is in uncirculated or proof condition. The 1977 dime doesn't feature any major mint errors, unlike some other coins that attract collectors due to minting mistakes. However, minor variations do exist, particularly in the way the mint mark was applied on coins produced in Denver or San Francisco. A well-preserved 1977 proof dime with an S mint mark from San Francisco, for example, holds particular interest for collectors. The dime's design and value are also symbols of its time. By 1977, the U.S. was emerging from the economic stresses of the Vietnam War and facing high inflation. This period saw an increased interest in coin collecting as inflation raised awareness about the intrinsic metal values of coins. For many collectors, owning coins from this time is like holding a small piece of that period's complex economic and political story. The Roosevelt Dime series remains one of the longest-running coin series in U.S. history. Its longevity is a testament to the timeless design and public approval. Although some have advocated for new designs, the Roosevelt Dime endures as a symbol of a time when America emerged as a global leader and as a reminder of Roosevelt's legacy, particularly his focus on public health and economic recovery. For numismatists and casual collectors alike, the 1977 Roosevelt Dime represents an accessible and affordable addition to any collection. Because it isn't considered a rare coin in circulated form, finding one is fairly easy. However, dimes in pristine condition, or those from proof sets, can be worth more and add a unique touch to collections focusing on 20th century U.S. coins. In summary, the 1977 one-dime coin is not just a piece of currency, but a representation of mid-20th century American history, economic policy, and cultural values. Its connection to Roosevelt's legacy, the transition away from silver, and the enduring design make it an interesting coin for both history and coin enthusiasts alike. In MS-67, the highest-graded FB example, the 1977 D Roosevelt Dime, is worth just over $1,000. In just one grade lower MS-66, coins with the FB designation are worth approximately $150. The 1978 one-dime coin, or Roosevelt dime, is an interesting piece of U.S. coinage with a legacy that stretches back to the mid-20th century. The coin is part of the Roosevelt dime series, which was introduced in 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. A significant figure in American history, Roosevelt led the country through the Great Depression and most of World War II, which made the choice of his image for the dime both fitting and significant. The design of the Roosevelt dime has remained largely unchanged since its debut, with the 1978 coin featuring the same iconic elements as the earlier coins in this series. The obverse of the coin displays a portrait of Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, who was the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. Surrounding Roosevelt's portrait are the words, "Liberty" on the left, "In God We Trust" at the bottom, and the year of minting, 1978, at the lower right. On the reverse side, the design includes a torch flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The words, "United States of America," curve around the top, while "E pluribus unum," Latin for "out of many one," is inscribed just above the torch. At the bottom, it simply states "one dime," denoting the coin's value. Before 1965, dimes were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. However, rising silver prices led to a change in composition for U.S. coinage. The Coinage Act of 1965 removed silver from most circulating coins, including the dime, and replaced it with a copper-nickel-clad composition, which is still used today. By 1978, dimes like the Roosevelt were being made with a core of pure copper, sandwiched between two outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. This copper-nickel composition not only helped keep the production cost of the dime in check, but also made the coin more durable. The 1978 dimes were minted at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Coins from Philadelphia bear no mint mark, while those from Denver carry a small D to the right of Roosevelt's neck. No dimes were minted in San Francisco for general circulation in 1978. However, San Francisco did produce proof versions for collectors. Proof coins are specially minted with a higher quality finish, giving them a mirror-like background and frosted raised elements, which make them visually distinctive. In terms of value, a typical circulated 1978 dime has minimal numismatic value, being worth just face value. However, uncirculated and proof coins in pristine condition, or coins with unique minting errors, can be worth more to collectors. Errors such as off-center strikes or double dies add rarity and intrigue, making these specific coins highly sought after. The decision to honor Roosevelt on the dime was motivated by his association with the March of Dimes, a campaign he supported to raise funds to fight polio. Roosevelt himself was diagnosed with polio in 1921 and became a symbol of resilience for people with disabilities. The switch from silver to copper-nickel-clad coins in 1965 was a significant moment in U.S. coinage, driven by economic necessity. The copper-nickel alloy gives the coin its characteristic silver-like appearance, but with greater resistance to wear. The Roosevelt dime has remained in constant use in American transactions, and is particularly valued by the public for its lightweight and convenient denomination. The Roosevelt dime holds a record for continuity, as its design has remained unchanged since 1946, making it one of the longest-used designs in U.S. coin history. Its stability reflects both respect for Roosevelt and an efficient, practical design that has stood the test of time. Although common, the 1978 dime holds a place in history for its role in the evolution of modern American coinage. For collectors, a coin's value often lies in its story and place within a broader narrative. The 1978 dime, while seemingly a modest piece, is a product of historical shifts, material innovation, and a tribute to a president who shaped an era. Collectors may find an uncirculated or proof 1978 dime an affordable yet meaningful addition to a collection of U.S. coins, one that encapsulates both economic history and cultural homage. The 1978 Roosevelt dime may appear ordinary in the pocket or at the cash register, but its design, composition, and historical background offer a unique perspective on American values and economic changes. Whether in a coin album or a cash drawer, this little piece of metal carries with it a small but enduring part of American history. According to the NGC Price Guide, a Roosevelt dime from 1978 in circulated condition is worth between 15 cents and 35 cents. However, on the open market, 1978 D dimes in pristine, uncirculated condition sell for as much as $65. The 1979 U.S. 1 dime coin, a 10-cent piece commonly known as a dime, is an iconic piece of American currency. Though dimes are often seen as simple, small denominations, they hold historical significance and unique features that make them interesting to collectors and historians alike. The 1979 dime, part of the Roosevelt dime series, stands out not only because of its design, but also for notable distinctions that arose that year. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, shortly after President Franklin D. Roosevelt's death in 1945. Roosevelt's profile was selected to grace the coin because of his leadership and his association with the March of Dimes, a national fundraising campaign he supported for polio research, from which the coin also gained its popular name. On the 1979 dime, the obverse side features a profile of Roosevelt's face, designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. Roosevelt is depicted in a right-facing profile, and the obverse also includes the words, "Liberty," and the phrase, "In God We Trust," to his left. The year 1979 is prominently displayed on the lower right. The reverse side of the dime is adorned with symbols of strength and peace. A torch representing liberty in the center, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace, and an oak branch representing strength. The reverse side also includes the words, "United States of America," and the coin's value, 1 dime. The 1979 dime is composed of a copper-nickel clad, meaning that it has a copper core with outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This material was adopted in 1965, when rising silver prices led to the removal of silver from circulation dimes, quarters, and half dollars. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 1979 Roosevelt dime is the variety known as the 1979S Type 1 and Type 2 dimes, which are proof coins. Proof coins are specially minted coins intended for collectors rather than general circulation. They are produced with a higher level of detail and often have a mirror-like finish. Proof coins are typically struck in smaller quantities and are designated by the S Mint mark, indicating they were produced at the San Francisco Mint. In 1979, the U.S. Mint introduced a new style for the S Mint mark on proof dimes. This led to two distinct varieties. Type 1. This variety is sometimes called the filled S or blurry S variety, as the S Mint mark appears thicker or more filled. Type 2, known as the clear S or sharp S variety, as the S Mint mark appears thinner or more sharp S variety. This version has a cleaner, more sharply defined S Mint mark. Type 2 dimes are generally more sought after and valuable among collectors due to their relative rarity compared to the Type 1 coins. The creation of these two varieties was the result of new minting technology and the U.S. Mint's experimentation with different dies. Although regular circulation 1979 dimes are not rare, Type 2 proof dimes have become valuable collector's items. The distinct differences in the S Mint marks have led to greater demand among coin collectors, who consider these dimes unique representations of minting technology advancements and a tangible aspect of U.S. mint history. Furthermore, while millions of dimes were produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, proof coins from San Francisco were limited to special sets sold to collectors, making them more limited in availability and a popular item for those interested in numismatics. Coin collecting. The 1979 Roosevelt dime stands as a reminder of Franklin D. Roosevelt's impact on American society and of the evolution of minting practices. The two types of 1979 S dimes continue to be of particular interest to collectors, showcasing how even small changes in coin design or technology can have a lasting impact on their value and collectability. This dime is a testament to how U.S. coinage reflects not only the faces of prominent leaders, but also the history of minting practices and the evolving nature of currency. Overall, the 1979 dime may seem like just another coin at first glance, but it tells a story that extends beyond its small size, touching on themes of technological progress and historical significance in U.S. currency. According to the NGC Price Guide, a Roosevelt dime from 1979 in circulated condition is worth between 15 cents and 35 cents. However, on the open market, 1979 D dimes in pristine, uncirculated condition sell for as much as $110. The 1980 one-dime coin, also known as the Roosevelt dime, is an essential piece of American coinage with a rich history and intriguing details. This small yet significant coin has played a crucial role in the U.S. monetary system, symbolizing both economic functionality and historical legacy. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946, a year after President Franklin D. Roosevelt's death. It was designed to honor his legacy, particularly his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his role in founding the March of Dimes, a non-profit organization combating polio. The dime's design was created by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. His initials, J.S., can be found at the base of Roosevelt's neck on the obverse of the coin. The obverse of the 1980 dime prominently features a left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. This depiction honors Roosevelt for his leadership during critical moments in U.S. history, including the Great Depression and World War II. The central feature is a detailed bust of Roosevelt, showing him in a dignified and calm demeanor. Liberty. Positioned along the left edge of the coin, symbolizing the core value of the United States. "In God We Trust," displayed to the lower left of Roosevelt's profile, emphasizing the nation's religious heritage. On the lower right side near Roosevelt's neck, it indicates where the coin was minted. No mint mark for Philadelphia. D double prime for Denver. S for San Francisco, proof coins. The year, 1980, is prominently placed near the bottom of the obverse. Initials JS. The initials of the designer, John R. Sinek, appear at the base of Roosevelt's neck, acknowledging his contribution. The reverse of the 1980 dime features a powerful composition centered on the torch of freedom, symbolizing enlightenment and liberty. Flanking the torch are an olive branch and an oak branch, representing peace and strength, respectively. Positioned in the center, it features a realistic flame, symbolizing the eternal pursuit of liberty. The olive branch on the left symbolizes peace, reflecting America's aspirations for harmony. The oak branch on the right symbolizes strength and endurance, representing the country's resilience. United States of America, curved along the top edge, denoting the coin's origin, a pluribus unum. Translated as out of many, one, this Latin phrase highlights the unity of the diverse states. One dime, displayed at the bottom, specifying the coin's denomination. The 1980 dime is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This composition was introduced in 1965 to replace the 90% silver dimes, marking a shift in U.S. coinage due to the rising cost of silver. While the face value of the dime is 10 cents, its numismatic value varies depending on its condition and mint mark. Uncirculated and proof versions, especially those with high grades from professional coin grading services, can fetch a premium among collectors. One of the intriguing aspects of coin collecting is the pursuit of error coins. The 1980 Roosevelt dime is no exception, with errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or coins missing parts of their edge lettering. These errors make the coins unique and increase their value to collectors. The Roosevelt dime is more than just currency. It embodies a tribute to a president who profoundly impacted American society. Its connection to the March of Dimes ties it to a broader humanitarian cause, making it a coin with both monetary and symbolic value. The 1980 Roosevelt dime is a representative of the enduring design and functionality of American coinage. Despite its modest size, it carries significant historical and cultural weight. For collectors and historians, this coin is a tangible connection to the economic and social dynamics of late 20th century America. The 1980 dime is not merely a piece of currency, but a symbol of American resilience, innovation, and tribute. Whether viewed as a numismatic artifact or a practical tool of commerce, the dime continues to tell the story of a nation and its values. According to the NGC Price Guide, a Roosevelt dime from 1980 in circulated condition is worth between 15 cents and 35 cents. However, on the open market 1980p, dimes in pristine, uncirculated condition sell for as much as $50.